Greetings of the day, respected ma'am. I, Yasmina Sultana from CSCD department, is going to talk about the topic active and passive voice, where we'll learn how to convert active voice into passive voice. So let's get started. Before that, we should know what is active voice. But first of all, the question comes is why should we do a conversion of active voice into passive voice? Well, it is important for the construction as well as the communication. It also depends on the situation which we use. And basically, active and passive voice is nothing but the relationship between subject, object, and the action. So it's depend on the writing style, clarity, as well as the tone and the situation in which you're using it. So let's start with what is active voice. Active voice is nothing but where the sentence in which the subject performs the action and the object receives the action. For example, the cat chased the mouse, where the subject is the cat and the action which is performing is chasing, and um, here the object is here the object is mouse, which is receiving the action. Well, active voice is generally used while conversation, and will look when the passive voice is used in a further slides. Before, let's see, in active voice, subject is perform the action, and active voice generally emphasizes the action and it is direct and clear. Here, what is passive voice? Passive voice is nothing but the vice versa of active voice. Uh, it means that here the subject is replaced by object, which tells that the object does the action and the subject receives the action rather than performing it. Here, it is an indirect actor, which means that here the actor or the subject is usually neglected or omitted, depending on the subject, and it is all usually in a formal tone and action focused. It is more action focused, which tells that what is being done, who and what is doing it. So it's rather than subject focus, which is active voice, it is action focused. Now let's see the advantages of passive voice. Passive voices help in writing about the procedure, emphasizes where where the subject is neglected, and which mostly emphasizes on the action done by the object, which maintains the objectivity. So let's see, why do we need passive voice? Well, passive voice is needed for formal writing, as we have mentioned before, and if the actor or the subject is unknown, we can use them. Or if we want to give less importance to the subject, we can also use there the passive voice. And also, if we want to focus the object or the action performed, we will use the passive voice. Now let's see how to convert active voice into passive voice. Well, there are 4 steps. First is identifying the subject, verb, object, and second is reversing object to and subject. Well, it depends how you want to convert active voice into passive voice or passive voice into active voice. Because if you want to convert active voice into passive voice, you have to convert the subject into the object and object into the subject. Well, we'll discuss in the further slides, not to worry. And third step is changing of verb form. If you want to convert into the passive voice, you have to convert the verb into a third form of verb, and by phase is used as an optional in some of the sentences. So let's see detailed how identifying subject, verb, and object. For example, a sentence: the dog chased the ball. Here the subject is the dog and the verb is the chased, and the object is the ball. Yeah, the subject is the dog. So here's the identifying of subject, verb, and object looks like. Now we'll see how reversing the object looks like. Well, subject becomes object and object becomes subject, nothing else. So let's see how changing verb form is. It's like past participle means the third form of the word, often ending in e, ed or en, which we have discussed before. And auxiliary verbs use be or have to create the passive construction. Convert the verb in the active sentence to the past participle form. This form is typically used with the auxiliary verb be or have. Well, we'll look forward to how it is. So here are the few examples how we are converting. So let's see in a detail. The chef prepared the meal. Here the chef is the subject and the meal prepared is the action and the meal is the object. Here the in passive sentence we are interchanging, and where the meal object is beginning of the sentence and was is a helping verb, prepared is the third form of verb, by, which we have discussed in, is optional in a few of sentence, which is exceptionally, okay, and the chef is the subject here. So in conclusion, I would like to say that active voice, the structure of active voice is subject verb and object, and in passive voice it's object helping verb, verb third form, which is usually denoted by v3 and by, and the subject. So yeah, thank you. And